Hey guys, what's going on? It is Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today I want to talk about priorities inside Raid Shadow Legends. What should you be doing and when should you be doing it inside the game? I really want to cover the entire game, so every different, from faction wars to arena, talking about kind of the lessons that I've learned, when you want to be focusing on things and when you're just wasting your time. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, and I want to start by talking about arena, okay? So the Great Hall more specifically. Arena is never there's never a bad time to play in Arena, okay? Even if you're a beginner or a mid-level player, I kind of waited for Arena for, I don't know why. I just didn't play a lot of Arena. I played here and there, but I was way more focused on campaign farming, which is incredibly important early on, and it should be your first priority, but it's never ever too early to start playing in the Arena so you can start working on your Great Hall. Great Hall gives you tons of amazing benefits that really ends up helping you a long-term inside the game. Now, Great Hall is a long-term investment, category where there's no resets. It's not like scrolls or masteries where you can reset and redo things. So it's really important to have kind of a cohesive strategy when you're in your Great Hall. Now, I made a mistake here, and it's not a big mistake. It's just kind of a whatever, right? Is that one of my first legendaries was Turvold, and I was so excited to get him. He's a Void legendary. So I went, as you guys can see, and upgraded my crit damage on my Void all the way to 7, which is not that big of a deal, but at the same time, you really want to prioritize accuracy and defense, in my opinion, inside the Great Hall. Now, there is a caveat here. You can upgrade, if you see along the side there, it's relatively cheap to upgrade every skill to 3 out of 10. So if you want to go ahead and just get everything to 3 on the entire Great Hall and kind of help all of your champions all across the board, that's also a viable strategy. What I decide to do is prioritize accuracy, which is so important inside the 2 or the 3 main, well, it's important anywhere, accuracy, but especially against the clan boss as you progress to Nightmare, Brutal Nightmare, and Ultra Nightmare. It's also incredibly important inside the arena, which is where you're going to be spending the most of your time as you progress inside Raid Shadow Legends. So accuracy is so important. It becomes a game of accuracy versus resist when you get to the end game. So going on accuracy with the champions that debuff, so anybody that debuffs on your team, working on the Great Hall on that accuracy tree is really important. I have my 6 out of 10, and I'm almost ready for a 7 out of 10 here. I'm only 12. You might as well get these trophies in the arena. But yeah, so as I was saying, in the arena now, if for some reason you're facing people who you just can't beat anybody, like it's frustrating, right? You just got to your limit, you can go ahead and just put one defender in your arena. I think I actually have it right now because I got to the top of my, here it is right here, right? My defense. I got Outlaw Monk. He's holding down the fort for me. So it's kind of cheesy, but it's actually an important strategy. So you can bring down your trophies a little bit, and that way you can actually farm arena and make sure you're getting those wins to further your development inside the Great Hall, okay? I'll show you my strategy. It's actually really, really cool. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but check this out. So we'll go here against this team, and it's just awesome. It's a turn meter manipulation team, and I'll do a full video on this. I kind of hinted towards it in yesterday's video, but the thing is, I don't want to spend, I'm 50-50 if I want to cover this or not, because it has 2 legendaries in there. I need to find substitutions for them. Anyway, Bat Swarm attacks all enemies, decreases the turn meter by 75%. This is kind of a lesson for you guys too, is I had Nethro for a long time. Never kind of struck me that he's really good in the arena because of that third ability. So sometimes revisit your champions that you're not using, especially like higher rarity ones that you might just be sitting on, like, okay, he's all right or whatever. I use him in Clan Boss and that's it. And kind of open your mind to the idea that there might be better uses. So check out that debuff that I have on right now. It's a block buff debuff on the entire team. That's Umbral. That's why she's so amazing, right? So they cannot be buffed. Actually, it was cleansed off by Bad L, but it's okay. So I have True Fear on a couple of my guys, I think, or Fear. Let's see. True Fear, so I don't want to be using the abilities. Anyway, let me just finish this up here. We're going to put speed on these guys. No True Fear is left. Let's go ahead and heal up. Nethril will reset the abilities, so decreases the cooldown of all skills is Kaimar's like money shot, and then we go back to the Bat Swarm again, so we can get all of their turn meters down. Then we can go ahead, and I'm actually going to use a spot heal here on Kaimar. I need to keep him alive. Now we can debuff the entire team. Actually, okay. Now we go speed. Now we go stun, and you can see here the opponent's not having that many turns, right? And that's the whole idea behind this comp. It's a tough team that we're facing too, at least for my, they're about the same level as I am. So in a second here, Umbral will be unfrozen and have a turn eventually, right? So we're going to attack Okay, decrease that turn meter. And that's another thing about Nethril, right? Decreasing the turn meter on the A1 is another incredible kind of tool in his kit, right? So let's go with... So now we're going to go with the Undying Evil, which is her money shot here. And check this out. Going to do a ton of damage. Also going to provoke and place an unkillable on her for 2 turns. So really, really solid. So anyway, sorry guys, I didn't end up thinking I was going to spend 3 minutes on this arena battle, but that's the idea of the video, is to kind of go through everything and show you what I'm doing and kind of teach you lessons along the way. So, what you're looking to do in the arena eventually is to get some team that has like a synergy, right? Are you trying to nuke? Are you trying to turn meter manipulate? Are you trying to go with a really high resist and kind of outlast your opponent's big money skills and then get the damage done later in the match? So there's different ways that you can go, and then you can just build the team off of one like super OP champion as well. So we're slowly but surely going through this. But yeah, the moral of the story here, guys, is arena is super, super important, and I wouldn't put it off, honestly. This is something that I would focus on even in the early game. So things are coming down to the wire a little bit here, but we're going to go ahead and pop them off one at a time. I could probably be going with a little bit more heals, but let's go ahead and just auto this to finish off. And yeah, so I think that arena is important just for the Great Hall, like even if you don't care about your trophies and stuff like that, getting that bonus 20%, 15%, wherever you are, 25% if you're that lucky, is incredibly helpful in all the other dungeons as well. So we're going to win this one, but you guys kind of see how the team works. It's like a really cool synergy. I'm really happy with it. I don't even know what I would do to improve this team besides improve each of these individual champions. So there you have it. Let's go ahead and go to the next area. So now moving to campaign, which is where you're going to be spending the majority of your time if you are a newer player or even like a mid-tier player, or really anybody. You're going to be using it to level up at least your food when you're upgrading your champions and whatnot, okay? So what I usually do every day is I go to stage 12 and I go all the way down to one of the later levels, like 12-6, and then I use all of my auto battles. I basically have like a tandem, a two champion strong tandem, and then I auto battle to level up every character that I want to, every champion that I want to upgrade, and of course getting all that gold, and I sell all the artifacts because they're not that great in terms of rarity and stuff. The dungeons, the spider's den, the ice golem, the dragon, etc. Fire Knight is where you're going to be getting all your really good loot in clan boss, of course. So anyway, this is where I use my multi battles. That's like a paywall behind the multi battles, so if you have them, that's what I would do. I would go to the most difficult level that you can clear fairly easily, or even if it's a little bit difficult, as long as you have like a 90% success rate or higher, then you're looking good. Even if it takes a while, just put your device or whatever in the background and kind of put it on auto. So that's what I do in terms of campaign farming. You guys already know how it works. If you're trying to farm a certain type of gear, lifesteal and speed being like some of the more popular, also the attack ones, you want to go to the appropriate level. So I'm going to go to Valdemir Strait. I want the lifesteal gear, and I'm looking for some gauntlets. So I would go farm stage 4 if you're in need of one specific piece of gear, and you also get XP and gold, right? So that's basically what you should be doing, focusing on campaign farming and making sure that you're getting the stars in every level, right? It's important, especially early game. You get good rewards here. You get a void shard, you get books, rare books, you get extra gold, gems, all kinds of stuff from making sure that once you've cleared one area, just kind of as you progress, go ahead and try to get those extra stars, right? It will save you time to go back and have to do it later. Speaking of that, also it will save you time to not have to go back and do it later. Are missions. Big mistake on my end is that I never even bothered with missions. Some of them are so kind of tedious that I was like, nah, but now I'll never get Arbiter. Not that I'll never get her, but she's one of the best legendaries. That is what you get when you complete all the missions in the game, and I really want her. But man, I feel like it's going to take me weeks to go ahead and do this, and they're very tedious. Again, equip another attack type champion with 6 offensive artifacts. Okay, there's 15 minutes, and then like I feel like I'd be here all day, every day for like a week if I was going to actually do this. But maybe it's worth it for Arbiter. Anyway, do the missions early. Just keep an eye on them, right? And as you go, just try to do one mission a day, right? And eventually you'll have her. So that is a kind of something that you should learn about my mistake from. Now, on top of that, so what else are you going to be doing? We talked about campaign. Again, campaign is where you're going to be spending the majority of your time early game. Faction Wars is another thing that I see people oftentimes kind of waiting on, right? That they wait until like towards the mid or the end game. And I don't know why. Glyphs are really, really good. What they do is they give bonus stats to all your artifacts in the entire game, right? So what you want to do is, even if you're only clearing stage 1-1, it doesn't matter, because you're getting 1-star glyphs that will improve all of your gear, and you can go ahead and get better glyphs in the future and just put those glyphs replacing the glyphs that you have on the gear, right? As long as they're higher level. So I would definitely recommend using your 12 free keys that you get on 2 of these faction war areas. Use your 12 keys every day. Like, you'll get 12 glyphs, and that's really, really good. And you want to use your glyphs on your stats, on your gear, for all of your main champions for dungeon farming or whatever. 1% extra on your attack percentage or your defense percentage or your HP percentage actually is really solid, especially when you stack it up across all of your gear, okay? So another thing to do every day, faction wars, right? Something that I definitely try not to skip a day unless I'm, really busy or whatever. So clan boss, you should be doing pretty much every day. I think that you guys pretty much know all about clan boss here. There's a couple strategies that clans use. Sometimes, like my clan right now, we'll just go all out kind of every day, and most days we clear up until brutal, and then nightmare and ultra nightmare go unfinished, although we have killed clan boss on nightmare. In some clans, they alternate every day. So like today, we're going to be killing brutal. So today's hard day. So make sure you use your keys on hard until it's dead. Then it's a free-for-all. So depending on your clan, just try to have some sort of a strategy, right? I mean, I guess we don't have much of a strategy, but like there's 2 strategies to kind of throw at you guys to think about. So then let's see. Arena, we talked about. Clan boss, talked about. Faction wars, talked about. Dungeons. So when dungeons is something that you actually can hold off a little bit on, right? So until you're able to clear most of the, I shouldn't say most of, but until you've like made your way to Nightmare or at least to Brutal in the campaigns, you don't have to worry so much about Dragon's Lair, Spider's Den, Fire Knight, Ice Golem's Peak, and yeah, those, because what you're going to be doing here is you're just going to be farming gear that's pretty comparable to what you could already get inside campaign at that level. It would be like Dungeons 10 or whatever, So dungeons are more considered end game. Doesn't mean you can't go in there and have some fun and try to assemble a team, but you shouldn't be using all of your energy on dungeons. I would rather use it on campaign, especially when you're trying to kind of like work on your early game. So just something to note of. In terms of difficulty, personally, I find the Fire Knight's Castle the most difficult, maybe followed by Spider's Den, followed by Ice Golem's Peak, and I think the easiest is Dragon's Lair out of those 4. Maybe it's just my champions, but I find Dragon's Lair very easy, actually. I cleared 20 in 2 minutes and 17 seconds, but I have not even been able to beat. I think I have the champions for it, I just don't have them equipped properly. Haven't been able to beat even stage 19 of Spider's Den. So that kind of sucks. And then the other 2 I've been able to clear. So, but I just don't use them too often. So anyway, it took me 6 minutes. Okay. So anyway, that's kind of the dungeons, how I look at those. Of course, Minotaur's Labyrinth and Arcane Keep and all the other magic and spirit keeps and Forest Void. Those are all you can just do as needed. At least that's what I would recommend. So Minotaur's Labyrinth is something that you can always do inside this game. It's something that you can always farm scrolls, right? And Minotaur's Labyrinth, let me just tell you guys, if you have it takes forever, the first run that you do in Minotaur's Labyrinth, right? So when you have all of your characters that need all the scrolls, now you can just buy them for 800 gems too if you're a dirty gemmer, right? But when you have all the characters who need all the scrolls, it's going to take you like a week plus. 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3, depending on how often you play, of farming endlessly to get those scrolls. But once you have one team maxed in scrolls, you can slot out somebody and then put in somebody who you want to get scrolls for, and they will get all the scrolls. So it will only take you a day or so, whatever, a day or 2, depending on how often you play, once you have 4 people who already have max scrolls, so it gets easier. So just kind of keep that in note, and I would kind of advise you guys to start working on Minotaur's Labyrinth pretty early, at least banging out a few battles a day, right? That way you can start working on that one team and get them maxed, then it will be way easier down the road. So that's pretty much the dungeon strategy that I've been using. That's kind of where I would prioritize. Let's talk about gear priorities, because that's a huge one. Probably even should have led with that, right? Because it's huge. Gearing artifacts on your champions is really important. So let's take a look at Umbral Enchantress, for example, right? What you want to be focusing on, in my opinion, is the number one thing is the second row of gear, right? So your gauntlets, your chest, and your boots. Now, every champion is a little bit different. But boots, oftentimes you want to be going speed, for most champions. Umbral is a little bit different. I have her on defense because she's defense based, and given my arena comp, I don't need her to be fast. She's always going to be going last, and that's where I want her to be. But the reason speed is really important because it's the only piece of gear that you can get that extra 45 speed on a 6-star, 40 speed on a 5-star, and so forth. It's really a ton of speed. So that's why the boots are really important, right? And then the chest and the gauntlets are really important because that's where you can get those big percentage stats and all kinds of different percentage stats depending on the champion you're using. Now, most offensive champions will be going with crit rate or crit damage, usually crit rate on the gauntlets. So getting a high star crit rate gauntlets on all your attack champions, such as Kayle, pretty much all your beginning champions, all 4 of them, Elaine, Aethel, and Gaelic, and Kayle, go ahead with a crit rate on them. It's really solid, right? And then on your chest piece, there's some flexibility again. You can go accuracy if you need it on your debuffer. You can go HP, you can go defense. Attack percentage is usually what you're going to be going with again, all of your defensive-based champions. So going with percentage and not the flat rates are really important. So make sure you're prioritizing upgrading and finding good artifacts on this middle row here, right? Now, how much do you upgrade your artifacts? What level do you go to, right? So what I like to think of is how viable are these artifacts going to be in the end game? What's my ROI on this investment, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking about when I'm making an upgrade. If I know they're going to be amazing, then I'll take them all the way to 16, even if it takes me a couple days to have all that gold. I will say, okay, these are 5-star legendary crit rate gauntlets with solid defense, which is exactly what I need on her anyway, because she's a defensive-based champion. Talk about what I mean by that in just a second. So that's really important. These are great. So I'm going to max these out no matter what, no matter how long it takes me. Now, if they weren't that great, if they were a 3-star, or if they, they had really crappy substats, I would take them to level 12, right? For me personally, I'm comfortable going level 12 that way, especially on epics, so I can get 3 extra rolls on them. What I mean by rolls are, well, you guys know, right? Do I have to go into it? Rares, you can see here, this rare accuracy chest has 2 extra rolls on attack and speed, increasing those stats, and then epic has 3, and then legendary has 4, uncommon has 1 extra roll. So on my epic artifacts, I definitely want to take them all the way to level 12 so I can get all 3 of those extra rolls. Legendaries, ideally you want to take them to 16, and then rares, you have a little bit more flexibility. You can take them to 8 if you want to conserve your gold. Now, another thing, my faction champions that I'm not really using in Clan Boss or Arena, or not one of my go-to dungeon or campaign champions, just a really solid champion that I just don't use a lot. I'm still equipping them with artifacts just to level 8 or to 12 so I can use them in Faction Wars, okay? So that's what you do with all your crappy artifacts that you just don't want to sell. You send them over to some guys to help you in the Faction Wars. And at least that's what I do. So it's all kind of a cyclical thing. And then what I'll do from here, like where I'm at right now, is I'm focusing on trying to upgrade just the little tiny things. For example, there's no glyphs on this weapon here. Let's go ahead and add an HP percentage glyph to it. And there we go. Let's see. Okay, 1%. Womp womp. But you guys get the sense. So I'm trying to make little upgrades at this point because I already have her really close to maxed out. Now, the second priority behind this mid row here, second priority by far is ascending to level 6, right? That's when you're really approaching like the meat of the game, is when you have a full team of 6-star champions, right? That's when you're getting into, okay, I can start thinking about endgame. I can start thinking about, making different sets of champions for different game modes and stuff like that. The most important thing is to getting ascended to 6 on your go-to champions, your bread and butter champions who are helping you out in multiple different game modes. So why? Just so they can have that banner and that amulet, right? So the crit damage amulet is great, obviously, on her, and I have a defensive amulet as well. I would think I would prefer an accuracy on her. I do have an accuracy, and it has defense on it. So we're actually going to swap this out right now, guys, because, there's a lot of speed on this one, though. All right, we'll make a decision later on off camera. These are the decisions you have to think about, right? Do I want all that accuracy on her? There is speed on this one too, and who knows, I might get rolls on it. I don't know, we'll do that off screen, but off screen, I'm going to upgrade this, and this is what I do all the time. I'm not going to equip it, but before I equip it, I'm just going to see where my rolls are going to be, right? And this is what you should be doing too. Before you just kind of willy-nilly take the artifact off or make a decision, just see where your bonus rolls are going to be. I'm hoping for defensive percentage or speed, and I get a speed right off the bat. So I'm going to definitely go to level 8 here, and if I get another speed, I'm probably going to make the swap. If I get a defense, I'm going to make a swap, defense percentage. If I get a defense flat rate, probably won't make the swap because I get all that accuracy too, which I would really love on her. So let's go ahead and see what we get. 7, 2, 8. This is going to be a long video. I got the defensive percentage, so that's really solid. Now let's look at the comparison here. So if I was to go with, now keep in mind it's only level 8, I'd be getting accuracy plus 30, and then a bunch of bad stuff. So, and the defense actually goes quite a bit down. But remember, I would be swapping it out for a defense, for a defense 398 on the banner. Anyway, these are the little tiny decisions that make this game so much fun as you get to the end game, and sometimes you can just try out different strategies. So masteries we already talked about, guys, but just to go over the basics, on any champion who's going to be debuffing other champions, definitely prioritizing your accuracy, getting charge focus, and getting pinpoint accuracy is going to be really important. And any offensive champion, even a pseudo-offensive champion who's a secondary attack for you, you really want to make sure you're getting deadly precision for the crit rate, and then getting keen strike for the crit damage. So that's basically your priorities in terms of the first masteries that you really want to start out on debuffers and of course on damage dealers. So guys, I think we've covered a lot in this video. I hope it was helpful. Please give me any feedback if I rambled at too long at any point or whatnot, or something that I didn't cover that you want to see covered. Sparring pit, you pretty much always want to be using. The mine, you can also use. Make sure you're claiming every day. We do have a sacred. Let's go ahead and pull it. Silence. And it is, man. Okay, so Zealot, I already have him, but he's actually pretty good. Let's go ahead and see his rating. Arena defense, a 4.9 on this guy. Clan Boss 4.7, Dragon's Lair 4.9. So he has really, really good scores. Let's take a look at his kit really quickly. This video isn't long enough as is, right? Attacks one enemy has a 15% chance of placing a sleep debuff. That can be booked to 40%. We have the armored scales. Places a shield buff on all allies equal to 20% of this champion's max HP for 3 turns. Continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns, so a really good support unit here. And then his A3 attacks all enemies, 50% chance of placing a sleep debuff for 1 turn, 75% chance against enemies under debuffs, and you can get that to 100% there. So pretty solid. His aura, is increases ally resist in the arena by 70. So not a bad kind of arena defensive support unit, especially on a resist team. So guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video there. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment. I'm happy to answer them. And again, guys, hope you had a very happy holidays. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. And as always, take care, guys.